Louisa Quick emerged into a morning as joyous as London offered. Prince's Square was wearing summer finally, this late in August, almost as if the strange wintry weather of these last few weeks had never happened. The still wet pavement glistened in the sunlight. There were birds. Louisa had no idea where they'd been until today. Her life seemed unimportant suddenly. The waiting room full of patients, the mountain of paperwork in the office, the grumbling nursing staff, all of it gone. Louisa might skip, she thought, or dance a jig in weather like this. Well, someone else might skip or dance a jig. Normally, Louisa wouldn't even be outside at this time of morning. She'd be inside, working. Where I would be still, she thought, if it weren't for Helen Anderson. Louisa had been in the treatment area off the waiting room with a patient when the front desk nurse parted the curtains and told her she was wanted on the telephone. "Can I call them back?" Louisa had said. The nurse shook her head. "They said it was urgent, doctor." "From the surgery or here?" Louisa had said. The nurse didn't know. It was terrible to admit, but Louisa would hurry more for a patient from her surgery in Harley Street. It was a simple equation. The Harley Street patients paid and expected more. Louisa needed their money for her work here at the clinic. She left her patient with the nurse to finish up and went to take the call. The caller was Helen Anderson, a patient who'd come to the surgery 2 years before. Louisa couldn't remember what had been the matter with her, only that she was one of those patients who knew more than her doctor and wouldn't do as she was told. Louisa had seen her again just before Catherine started at the Henley School in the spring, but Helen, the school's principal, didn't acknowledge their history. Sometimes patients didn't want to see their doctors in other settings, and who could blame them? When Louisa asked on the telephone now if she was all right, Helen sounded exasperated. "Of course," she spluttered. "But you must come quickly. Write down the address." Louisa scribbled down an address as ordered. She was about to ask if anything had happened to Catherine when Helen Anderson hung up. What the devil could be wrong? Louisa had thought. It had been a tumour, Louisa recalled. Abdominal, large. Perhaps it had regrown. Louisa hurried through the lane to the Ratcliffe Highway and put her hand out to signal a passing taxicab.